Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for the Q&As, and I decided to voice these over today. I just don't feel like getting on the camera. I haven't tidied my beard up or anything. We had a busy day yesterday. We had to go to a wedding and everything, and so let's go ahead and get this started. Alright, first question. Jason, on your 5x5 program, if I keep failing 2 times in a row on the same weight, let's say bench, month after getting to the same weight, let's say 195, and what can I do to get past this hurdle? Don't let the trolls get you down. Keep it up and persevere. Well, thank you for that compliment there, brother. And no, I'm absolutely not going to let the trolls get me down. Not going to happen ever. Now, to answer your question, keep in mind for someone who's doing like the novice program, getting to 195 on the bench press for 5 sets of 5 is pretty impressive for a drug-free lifter overall. Unless you're very genetically gifted or just really good at the bench press, you're absolutely going to slow from that point. They're going to stall a lot. You got to keep in mind the goals for the novice program are for someone who is in their 18 to 35 range. They're healthy with no medical issues, normal height or taller, and they're able to get plenty of rest, good diet, everything like that, no major medical issues. So they're 30 pounds away from the 1-year ideal goals for the program at that point. So they're not far off, and they might actually reach that in 6 or 7 months if everything goes perfect, and then it will take another 5 to 6 months to squeeze out that last 30 pounds. So multiple resets are going to happen. It's not that unusual on a setup like this. But the thing to keep in mind, this is a very high workload program. It's a very high volume, high workload program. It's a very difficult program, and a lot of people are not going to be able to utilize it. You got to keep in mind this is intended to be a maximum hypertrophy program with a strong strength component. Some people are simply going to find it to be too much, and it's for people who have the recovery, the free time, everything else. There are easier programs for people to run who don't mind 2% or 5% less results, and that's perfectly fine if your lifestyle doesn't allow for it. So a lot of people may not be getting adequate nutrition. They may not be getting enough sleep. They might have a lot of stress in their life. I noticed this person said down under his comments when a couple of people had asked, he goes, I'm only getting about 5 or 6 hours of sleep a night, and I am under a lot of stress at work. Well, that being said, on a big exercise like the bench press, running such an intense program, those things alone can cause you to stall. Not getting 8 hours of sleep every night, having a lot of stress in your life, so elevated stress hormones, elevated cortisol, could cause you to stall on this program on the bench press for several months, and in some cases that could even unfortunately cause you to regress. So if you're stalling repeatedly, you probably need to address those other factors first. Address your health, address your stress management, address your sleep, your rest, your nutrition. Is your diet balanced? Are you getting all of your vitamins and minerals from whole foods rather than needing to supplement them in? So there are other things that you're going to need to look at if you're stalling on a program like this. Again, remember, this program is intended for people who have a lifestyle to accommodate a maximum hypertrophy program with a lot of volume. Not everybody is going to be able to do that. I don't even personally train with anywhere near the type of workloads and volumes that this program has, because I have my own set of physical limitations and issues, because I get elevated cortisol as a result of my own medical issue, and I'm 39 years old. So whether TRT is helping me or not is rather besides the point. I don't even train with these type of volumes. So the program that I've written here is not for everyone. If it is for you, you'll get amazing results, but your lifestyle has to be able to accommodate it. All right, next question. In realistic terms, how many people globally would you say can or have a chance to bench 315? I've seen figures say that it's a 1% thing. Also seen e-stats that say anyone who can do it, and if you're not benching 315 for reps, you're not even lifting. Curious, because I've only seen ever 5 people out of hundreds in the gyms I've trained at press it for 1 rep or more. Yeah, guys, this comes down to e-statting. People love to e-stat. And it's not even about who is capable of doing something genetically. You need to keep in mind, not everyone's lifestyle even accommodates reaching a certain training goal. You have to remember, a lot of people have jobs, a lot of people have kids, a lot of people have finals to deal with. They have all sorts of stressors in their life. So something isn't even always about genetic ability, it's about priority in your life. And for people to bench press 315, an actual strict bench press where they're not bouncing off the chest, they can actually pause it for even a brief second or even a true touch and go with no bouncing all the way to their chest, press it without lifting their ass off the bench or anything crazy. People who can do 315 a legit clean bench press in the gym are fairly rare. You can go to 5 or 6 gyms sometimes and not see someone do it. Now, you might go to another gym and see a guy who benches 400 or 500. But remember, these people are even rare. They're out there, but because of the internet, so many people out there to make great displays of strength that people don't realize how rare these things are. And yeah, truth be told, if you're not hanging out at a gym with a bunch of roided up bodybuilders, like serious bodybuilders, or you don't hang out at an athletic gym or a powerlifting gym, you might not see people benching 315, like a legit 315 bench anywhere. Is it doable by many people? Sure, but what you need to keep in mind, what should you place it for someone with average genetics who is going to be a drug-free lifter? Reaching a 315 drug-free bench press is a lifetime type goal in the gym for a recreational lifter. That's something that you would say, I want to try to reach this in 5 years or 10 years or whatever. It's a lifetime goal for most non-competitive lifters, for just someone who's recreational, someone who's not going to use drugs, and they may not ever reach it. But that's the sort of thing, again, you should look at as a lifetime goal. And someone who reaches it in high school, for example, that's someone who's going to be genetically gifted. That's a guy who's going to probably do pretty well at university in football or something. And keep in mind, you know, a lot of guys have those memories of what they did in high school, but they forget that their bench press in high school was bouncing it off their chest, lifting the ass off the bench, and the guys helping spot them or helping lift it while screaming, "all you." And their memory doesn't always include that fact that it wasn't actually legit bench presses the guys were doing. But yeah, due to internet standards, people who are benching 275 will be in do you even lift mode, even though you'll go to powerlifting meets, regional powerlifting meets all over the world and see guys benching 275 who are even over 200 pounds sometimes, who actually place and can't even bench 315. I've actually seen guys on drugs who can't bench 315 in meets, who have enormous deadlifts and things, and actually went on to go to national level or whatever. Not necessarily didn't mean they won at nationals, but they at least got there. So put that in perspective, guys. All right, next question. Hey Jason, just wanted your thoughts on appetite, etc. People who eat a ton but are always hungry. Isn't this due to some sort of hormonal imbalance causing this, i.e. your body still isn't getting what it needs, etc., or something else? I know people on 5, 6, 7,000 calories a day who are always still hungry, even after smashing meals of like 2,000 calories in one go. What causes this? Seems to be a number of factors going on. Number one, we've got leptin and ghrelin, so there is a massive hormonal component to it. There are people who simply do not get the same register in their brain that they're full due to hormonal things. Now, people talk about discipline and everything else, but for these people, there is a different discipline involved than someone else. A lot of people have no appetite, so those people will say, oh, discipline, but they don't get truly hungry the same way that someone else does who has a hormonal issue that causes this. They actually can eat 2,000 calories and feel full for the next 8 hours or 10 hours. Whereas in someone with a major leptin or ghrelin type issue with their brain, they might eat that 2,000 calories and be legitimately hungry 2 hours later, and they're going to have to sit there and feel hungry for several hours while they wait to eat again. There's also the factor that some people seem to digest food a lot faster than others. Gastric emptying rates vary a lot from person to person. So if you're someone who has a very fast gastric emptying rate, you digest food quicker, goes through the intestine quicker, your stomach's going to be empty sooner. An empty stomach is going to give a physical feeling of hunger. You combine that with brain hormones that give different satiety, and some people are just going to have an enormous appetite and they will have to walk around hungry all the time. I happen to be one of those people. So for me, cutting is an issue of finding not only high satiety foods, but just accepting the fact that I am going to have to experience physical hunger at least 5 to 6 hours out of the day, no matter what I do, and just accept the fact that I'm gonna have to sit there and be hungry and then find stuff to distract myself away from thinking about food, go find something else to do. Like for me, what I'm finding these days, just because of my own appetite, when I get a sensation of hunger, that's oftentimes when I go jump on my bike and do some cardio instead. Or I go film a video or something to get my mind off of food. You just go find some other activity. But it's a very real thing for a lot of people, and people who don't have serious appetite issues don't actually understand that, because they don't really know what it's like to be truly hungry even after eating a meal. So again, there's a hormonal component and there's a physiological component. So it's the combination of those things usually that causes people to have enormous appetites. All right, next question. Jason, is there any way I should adjust my squat technique to take advantage of my genetically enormous glutes? Any technique cues or tweaks to harness the full power of a big booty? Well, this is going to be a short, easy one to do. the deeper you squat, the more glute activation you get. So if you've got a big glutes and you want to utilize them better, squat deeper, you'll harness more power of your booty to get the weight moving faster. And so it's also a good thing. So again, you'll be able to develop more power, more overall development as a result of that too. But squat deep, squat ass to grass, and you will harness more power of your glutes to take advantage of your genetically big booty. Pretty simple. All right, next question. Hey Jason, if it hasn't been covered already, I wonder if your back can be too wide for a standard bench when bench pressing. I usually have a hard time getting myself in the correct position because it's real easy for my shoulder to kind of just slide off the bench, and then suddenly I have zero support on that side and need to stop benching. I doubt I'm too wide for the bench, but if I'm not, then what am I doing wrong? Keep up the good work, especially on the tactical channel, which I love. And thank you for shouting out my tactical channel. Also, a lot of people are not aware of it. All right, the issue if your back is sliding off the bench is that you're not benching correctly. You're not setting up correctly. If you'll notice, most competition style benches that powerlifters use are actually much narrower than the bench you have at the gym. You notice when I do bench on videos lately, I'm on a competition bench and I have a very, very wide back. It's probably my best genetic feature. The thing is, your lats should never be in contact with the bench unless you're benching flat back. If when you're benching correctly, you're in full scapular retraction, and your trapezius, which is not going to be wider than a bench no matter what. Your trapezius are what's in contact with the bench, that and your glutes. Your lats shouldn't actually be contacting it. And as long as you keep your shoulder blades together correctly in scapular retraction, your traps won't come apart and they will stay planted hard to the bench. So the issue for you is more of one of your setup. It's not an issue with your back being too wide, because your back shouldn't really be in contact with the bench. It's that you're not setting up tight enough and you're not keeping your traps together by holding your scapula together and keeping them on the bench. So that's an easy fix for you. You need to get tighter on your setup and learn to utilize a bar path that allows your scapula to stay together, and problem solved. All right, next question. Jason, just watched your 5 exercises video. Can the push press still benefit people who can't have the bar touching their shoulders due to forearm length? My understanding is momentum comes through the body, and a floating bar would lose a lot of that. Thanks. Well, yeah, you're correct on the latter, but here's the thing. You guys have noticed I have really long ape arms. That's one reason my arms always look smaller than they actually are. Yet, if you notice, I put the bar on my chest. I touch the bar on my chest. I start with the bar on my chest, and I have really, really long arms and really long forearms. I have no trouble touching my chest. If you can't, you need to change the way that you're gripping the bar. You're probably trying to use the wrong grip, and not just grip width, because I can do it with any grip width, can touch my chest. You're trying to grip the bar incorrectly, combined with bad shoulder mobility is what's going to cause that. So the issue is you need to learn how to actually rack the bar correctly on an overhead press or push press if you can't comfortably touch your chest with it. So the forearm length is not even an issue there, because I actually have much longer forearms than average, and I have no trouble doing this at all. So that's something that needs to be worked on. And again, it's because people are oftentimes gripping the bar incorrectly. They're trying to use like a full grip and grip it tight, and that's not going to work for a heavy weight on the overhead press. All right, next question. Thank you so much for the content you put out. You're quite welcome, brother. Question: is it possible to gain weight while on a deficit? Tracked for just over a month because of resistance training. No, if you're gaining weight, you're not in a caloric deficit. Now, there can be drugs that can be exceptions to these rules. There are certain anabolics that can put large amounts of water weight on you, intramuscular weight through glucose, things like that. But if they're doing that to you, you're in a very, very small deficit or more at maintenance if those drugs are putting weight on a person. Now, for someone who's drug-free, if you're gaining weight, it is absolutely not possible with a caloric deficit, other than maybe the first couple days, just shifts in transient storage factors. So again, something's being tracked incorrectly, but that's okay. I mean, if you're eating fairly low calories and you started weight training recently and you start gaining weight, you're probably recompositioning and gaining entirely muscle weight or intramuscular storage factors, like transient storage factors like glycogen, triglycerides, things like that, which then draw water into the muscle tissue. So that's still okay, but you're not in a caloric deficit if you've gained weight over the course of a month from weightlifting. No matter how close you think you're tracking, you're doing something wrong. Either you're burning way less calories than you think you are, or you're eating way more than you think you are, because it simply doesn't work that way. You're not going to break the laws of thermodynamics. It's energy in versus energy out. So something's being calculated incorrectly. So go back to the drawing board there. It's just not possible. All right, next question. Why I lost a couple pounds just from skipping 4 gym sessions, and I look flat as hell too. Does that mean I am losing muscle or just water? Thanks, by the way, you rock, Jason. And thank you for the compliment. You're losing water weight. That's all it is. If you've lost just a couple pounds, you missed 4 sessions, you're starting to lose some of those, again, what I just discussed in the last video, those transient storage factors that make you hold on to more intramuscular water by increasing glycogen stores. Those are the first thing to detrain. You're not going to lose any actual tissue hypertrophy for probably 2 weeks. You've got to quit doing your training in a muscle for about 2 weeks before you start seeing actual tissue loss, but you can see some initial glycogen loss, and 2 pounds sounds about right. So that's all that's going on. That's also the reason you look flat. Your muscles are holding less glycogen, a little bit less, which means they're also holding just a little less water. Well, they're going to be flatter because they are flatter. I mean, they're just less inflated, and so that's where your 2 pounds lost is coming from. And what will end up happening, you go back to training and you will regain that within 1 or 2 training sessions. It will be right back where it was. It won't take any time at all. So it's nothing to worry about, and hopefully you're able to get back in the gym soon. So whatever caused it is causing you to be out, I hope you get that sorted out and you can get right back to making progress again. All right, next question. Hey Jason, love your content and tactical channel over here in Australia. Keep it up. A friend of mine plays AFL, but his strength and conditioning coach doesn't have him do any kind of squats. Do you think this could be compensated for? Or is he missing out to appreciable extent in terms of lower body performance? Yeah, I would say he probably is missing out on lower body performance. I don't know why a strength and conditioning coach for a field athlete like that wouldn't have him squat. He should probably ask his coach what's going on. Now, could he compensate for it with other exercises? Probably. If he has him doing deadlifts, maybe particularly something like trap bar deadlifts, which replicate a squat a little more than a conventional deadlift does with a barbell, probably has him doing some push presses and power cleans, he'll probably be just fine without squats. But it just does seem really unusual to me that a strength and conditioning coach doesn't have a serious competitive field athlete doing squats. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, but again, like any other exercise, no exercise is essential. He could still make up all the benefits with a combination of other exercises, but it will take more exercises to do it. So again, if he's doing maybe a trap bar deadlift and push presses, and push presses are absolutely enormous for field athletes, and that can't be overstated, and maybe some power cleans in there, those 3 together could replace everything he's doing with the squat and then add all these other things in. But again, I don't understand why his coach doesn't have him doing squats, and he should probably discuss that with the coach and find out what's going on. All right, next question. I'm trying to teach my friend how to squat, but she has so unbelievably horrid balance that she ends up falling forward or backwards most of the time. The only thing I could think of was hip and ankle flexibility, which is improving, but doesn't seem to be the entire problem. Her issue is going to be not necessarily balance. It's going to be more core than anything, and some mobility issues. And the reason I state that, you guys have seen me squat over 500 pounds on camera. You guys have seen me rep out over 400 without a belt, and belt often helps to keep you upright a lot more. I medically do not have a sense of balance at all. I've learned to compensate for it by building my core, building stabilizers up. So I go way beyond horrid balance. I have been medically diagnosed as not having a sense of balance. I don't possess it at all. Yet I'm able to squat. So the issue is going to be core stability. You need to have her start doing a lot more core work. Have her start doing weighted planks. Have her start doing some band crunches like you guys have seen me do on camera. And again, continue to work on her ankle flexibility and mobility, because that probably is a major issue. So maybe get her some squat shoes. And another thing you can do in the meantime so that she can learn to stay more upright while hitting the proper depth is start having her box squat. Have her box squat for about a month and see if that helps correct it while you're doing all this core work and while you're doing this ankle mobility work. And then when you put her back to a normal squat, maybe in some squat shoes or weightlifting shoes, that should hopefully sort everything out. So give that a try in combination. So again, the combination you're going to need to do, start box squatting for a little while, a lot of core work, so planks, and build up to being able to do weighted planks, band work, band crunches with a band or a cable if you don't have a band, and do those standing. And then continue to work on ankle mobility and get her some squat shoes. And hopefully that should sort everything out. I'll bet you that will fix the problem. It's not an issue of her balance. It's an issue of mobility and stabilizers and core strength more than anything else. All right, next question. And this is the last question of the week. Hi Jason, would you ever consider collaborating with Allan Thrall? I know he lives in a less gun-friendly state, but if he came to you, you both provide loads of useful information and no bullshit manners. Cheers and thanks for the content. Yeah, guys, I mean, it's for my own reasons, and even if I didn't have a YouTube channel here anymore, the thing is I don't visit non-gun-friendly states, and that's my own political beliefs, that's my own political ideology. I don't expect other people to adhere to what I believe. That's the beautiful thing about democracy. That's the beautiful thing about living in a free country. You don't have to share my beliefs. I don't have to share your beliefs, but for political reasons, I don't visit those sort of places. I have no desire to do so, and I will not live in a place or even visit a place again where I have to be unarmed like I was in the UK. Now, that aside, the whole issue with collaborating with people, I don't know, guys. I'm not really that interested in collaborations anymore. I did some collabs with some smaller channels early on, but all in all, I don't feel like collaborations really bring that much to the table. I know people love to see them, but really at that point, collaborations are just about fan service more than anything else. And again, I know fans like that, but you're dealing with scheduling issues, other stuff. There are some complexities in my own life that make it difficult for me to accommodate that sort of stuff for other people. I do my videos as I get around to doing them. I have other things going on that I don't necessarily ever talk about on here that do interfere with my schedule and ability to collaborate and do certain things. I do videos when my own life schedule allows for them to happen. And at the end of the day, providing information for people shouldn't require collaborations. I put out information, Allan puts out information. Like the best thing it would probably be for a lot of people, rather than either one of us traveling over 1,000 miles to do a 20-minute collaboration video, would be for someone like Allan Thrall and I to have a round table over Skype or something and record it. Because outside of that, the informative component of it wouldn't exist for what most people do. Most people do these collaborations just for fan service and for people to see them work out together. And I don't know, that just doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I've still never gotten around to doing my collaboration with Chris Jones, which he had offered several times a while back. I just haven't gotten around to doing it, and I don't know when I will ever get around to doing that. So again, collaborations, while a lot of people seem to like them, I don't know, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think they really do anything informative for people other than just offer fan service. Which, you know, again, I understand a lot of people like, but that's not really what I'm about. I'm not trying to have fans. I'm just trying to have viewers that I help and give information to and help them along. I don't really think of it in that same way. I think the whole celebrity component to this is a little weird. And again, I guess I am a celebrity at this point with the sheer number of stalkers I have and people who have clearly dedicated their life. They're dedicating money to, you know, stalking me and my family, researching background stuff, and even fabricating information to troll me and stalk me and things. I guess I am a celebrity at this point, but I guess I still kind of reject that aspect of this community. It's something that it's going to take me a long time to get used to and accept, I think. All right, guys. But that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.